Did you drink any coffee, eat any chocolate, drink any matcha tea, any black tea throughout the years? Because the hair loss comes later and it all falls out and went with women. And the timing doesn't always have to be the same. I've seen 20-year-olds drink it for a couple of years and it all comes out when they're 25, 27. They're at these autoimmune doctors. They don't know what's wrong. Alopecia is starting. And you can drink it for 10, 15 years, 18 years and keep your hair. But when you're now 65, it's all going to fall out. And then you're wearing like a wig. The greatest joke ever played on women, which is the sickest joke by the industry. Get them addicted to caffeine. Get them addicted to chocolate throughout their life. This way, their hair falls out later because it just does because of it. Because the adrenals lose their hormones and then the hair follicles die. And then women lose their hair. Now, maybe you didn't have chocolate ever in your life. Maybe you didn't have caffeine ever in your life and you got some hair loss there. Well, then you're still losing the hormone in the adrenal for other reasons, and we got to talk about that. And sluggish liver, low-grade viral issues, you're not taking care of your adrenals, you're not eating enough meaning you're not eating enough snacks for adrenals. There's all kinds of reasons. So keep that in mind. I talk all about that in the information, and maybe a bad event happened in your life, a divorce, a betrayal, someone stabbed you in the back and twisted the knife too hard, and which is terrible because that's what happens out there. Maybe a couple of emotional bullets hit you because that happens every day out there. Broken trust, dear Lord. Broken trust, betrayal, broken heart, everything, and losses. That could also knock the hair off your head years later, like 3 years later, 5 years later from a stressful event. Your adrenals are running from the emotional event all the time. And if you're somebody who does caffeine, your adrenals are running during the caffeine, and boom, that hair's gonna go. For women, it hinges on these things. Sure, a piece of chocolate's harmless, I get it. A cup of coffee's harmless, an espresso's harmless, sure, but the hair falls out later. But we gotta physically support ourselves, okay? And get it free at the library if you want, okay? Like I said, everything's free. The hair thins, the hair falls out for women. There's that. The sunspots all happen, and they gotta all get the laser techniques. The hormones get all imbalanced, right? So all that is coming out of the adrenals. All that's, it's because of the adrenals, because of the caffeine. So a lot of women suffer from hair thinning, hair loss after pregnancies, even if it's 6 months after childbirth, a year after childbirth, 2 months after childbirth, during childbirth, and because so much adrenaline was used and caffeine was stimulating so much adrenaline, so you get the hair thinning. Hair loss for 5 years, been doing celery juice. It's another hair loss question that I have here. So I want to make sure we address those. Those are so important. I've been having hair loss for 5 years, been doing celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, an anti-bug cleanse, and your recommended supplements for hair loss for 6 weeks. Hair loss seems to be a little worse than before. Anything you'd recommend? Is there something I'm missing? How long does it take to see results? Here's the funny thing. Here's how it works with hair loss. Hair loss, your hair falling out of your head. Like when you're losing hair and it's coming out everywhere, whatever, and you're losing hair. What happens is that's from 6 to 12 months before of something happening in your life. Okay? If you have a really intense emotional experience where your adrenals were running and you were under adrenaline stress, and it lowered that hormone in one adrenal gland, okay? And that happened a year ago. Say it was a relationship problem. Say it was a financial problem. Say it was something else problem. Say you had to move out of your house. Say you had to move out of your apartment and it was a tough time. You're not going to have the hair loss the day you have a problem. You're going to have the hair loss 6 months later, even 3 months later, but 6 months later, a year later, to whatever that event occurred at that moment. Same thing if you're viral. If you were viral and you were fatigued and not feeling good a year before, you can still have hair falling out from a year before. And if you haven't gotten the adrenals better, repairing them yet, because it takes time to repair some of them, to get that hormone back. It takes time to see the results. But here's what will happen. Over time, you'll see the results and it'll come, even if you stop doing the good stuff. So say, like this person said, I've been having hair loss for 5 years, been doing celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, anti-bug cleanse, and your recommended supplements for hair loss for 6 weeks. That's 6 weeks of what you're doing. A year from now is going to stop your hair falling out at that time, or put hair on your head at that time. And you know what? Chances are, whatever you're doing a year from now, like flying a kite, doing something, that'll be what got your hair back. Because you don't know how, whatever you ate, whatever you did, you might have been eating pizza a year from now. Just say someone could be eating pizza a year from now, and all of a sudden, their hair's not falling out so much. Oh my God, it was the pizza. That's what it was. It wasn't the 6 to 12 months ago that I did the anti-bug cleanse, that you did the celery juice, that you did the heavy metal detox smoothie. That's how hair follicles work. That's how the reconstruction of the adrenal glands work. And so, but another thing too, are you off all the caffeine? Another thing too, because if you're not off all the caffeine, but you're doing the heavy metal detox smoothie, you're trying to get your hair back, you're doing the celery juice, you're doing all this, and you're not off the chocolate, you're not off the caffeine in the chocolate, you're battling it. You're battling it. So you're doing all this good stuff, but you still got a little caffeine in the mix that's also adding to it, and even could be causing it or contributing to it. And so, and the caffeine always causes hair loss for all women down the road. It always does. You can be, jogging. You could be 22 years old and you're jogging every single day, and you're totally, you're in shape. You're working on it. You're eating good. You're eating good food. You're doing a keto diet. You're doing a plant-based diet, whatever it is. But you're doing the caffeine. Eventually, no matter what, you're going to have hair thinning. Every single woman, almost every single one will, with all that caffeine that's been pounding out those adrenal glands for so long. I'm not saying you need to stop it, or you got to stop it, or don't do it. That's not it. I'm not the caffeine police. I'm not the chocolate police. I'm not anything like that. I'm just saying that it's something you might want to consider, just, getting a little under control. The industry loves to keep women addicted, because if the industry can keep, the caffeine industry can keep women addicted, then it's like bankroll, man, shareholders bankroll all over the world. It's an unbelievable bankroll situation, how it works. So that's another thing right there. So anyway, so there's a lot of stuff you can do to get that back, and try not to lose faith. You're doing what you're doing is going to pay off. It's going to pay off.